Today, we're going to talk about one of the biggest, most fundamental shifts happening in AI right now. It's this move away from AI learning from us, from humans, and toward learning from itself. I mean, think about that for a second. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but for the people building these things, it's a very real problem they're facing today. We fed these models pretty much the entire internet, every book ever digitized, every scientific paper we could find. So what's next? Well, they're hitting a hard limit, what the industry is calling the data wall. And the way they're getting around it isn't just some clever trick. It's completely changing our understanding of how to build an intelligent system in the first place. So that brings us to our first big idea here, the Great Data Wall. For years, the rule in AI was super simple. Bigger models plus way more data equals a smarter AI. The problem is we've pretty much run out of that second ingredient. And the key thing to understand is that the old playbook, just scraping more and more of the web, is basically over. That gigantic reservoir of human-written stuff that powered this whole AI revolution, yeah, it's pretty much empty now. The industry needed a whole new source of fuel. And that new fuel, it's synthetic data generated by other AIs. But what's so fascinating is that the solution isn't to just replace all the human data. No. Researchers found this kind of magical sweet spot, a golden ratio, about 30% synthetic data mixed with 70% real-world text. That seems to be the perfect diet for training these models. And when you hit that perfect mix, you get this incredible result. Models trained with this blend learn anywhere from 5 to 10 times faster. It's like the AI-generated data is a purified, super concentrated learning signal. It cuts out all the noise and messiness of human language. I mean, an acceleration like that doesn't just make things cheaper, it totally changes the speed at which AI can evolve. Okay, but this opens up a whole new can of worms, right? If AI is making its own training data, how on earth do you make sure that data is any good? It turns out forging new realities is a very, very delicate art. And it leads you straight into what's called the generator's dilemma. On one hand, you've got these highly polished, instruct-tuned models. They produce really high-quality, safe text, but it's kind of repetitive, it's boring. On the other hand, you have the raw base models. These guys are wild, they're creative, but their output can be low quality, sometimes just total nonsense. So you're stuck choosing between a boring genius and a creative madman. The solution is this really elegant two-step process called BARE, which stands for Base Refine. First, you let the wild, creative base model just go nuts and generate a ton of diverse ideas. Then you bring in the disciplined, smart instruct model to act as an editor. It cleans everything up, corrects the errors, and makes sure it's all high quality. You're basically separating the brainstorming from the editing, and you get the best of both worlds. But hold on, because this is where things get really wild. This isn't just about making more data anymore. This is the point where we see models start to actively teach themselves how to reason. It's the beginning of a genuine self-improvement loop. And this process, called STAR, or self-taught reasoner, illustrates it perfectly. The model tries to solve a whole bunch of problems. The answers it gets right? Great. Those go into its training data. But here's the genius part. For the answers it gets wrong, it gets told the correct answer and is then forced to reason backward to figure out the steps it should have taken. It is literally learning from its own mistakes. And the results are just staggering. By learning the process of thinking, not just memorizing facts, a STAR-trained model could perform just as well as a model 30 times its size. This is huge. It proves that raw scale isn't the only way to get to intelligence. Teaching a model how to think is an incredibly powerful shortcut. And as these models just sit there and practice reasoning, they start to develop these amazing new behaviors that nobody programmed into them. Researchers training a model called DeepSeek saw this exact phrase pop up in its internal monologue. Wait, this assumption is incorrect. The model learned all on its own to self-correct its own chain of thought because that was the best way to get the right answer. So now we have these giant, powerful models that can reason. That's awesome. But they're way too big and expensive for most people to actually use. So the next big challenge is, how do you take all that massive intelligence and kind of compress it into a smaller, more accessible apprentice model? Turns out it's really tricky. If you just train a smaller student model on the big teacher's answers, you can get something called cargo cult reasoning. The name actually comes from these real-world groups who would build fake airstrips out of wood, hoping it would make real cargo planes appear. They were mimicking the form without understanding the function. And the student AI does the exact same thing. It writes out these confident, step-by-step answers that look right, but are just full of logical holes. To fix that cargo cult problem, researchers came up with a method called edit, or a mistake-driven distillation, and it's so smart. It doesn't just show the student model the right way to think. It also shows it a nearly identical thought process that goes wrong at one single critical step. This teaches the student not just what to do, but just as importantly, what not to do. Another technique called think edit is even more surgical. Researchers found they could actually identify the specific bits of the neural network that were responsible for rushing to an answer. And by editing just 0.2% of the model's parameters, they could encourage it to think longer, which led to a 6% jump in math accuracy. It's just wild how precisely we can now manipulate these systems. But this whole paradigm of AI learning from AI, it creates this deep, almost philosophical risk, a totally new kind of existential threat for the entire field. It's called model collapse. The best way to think about it is like making a photocopy of a photocopy. Every time you do it, you lose a little bit of detail, a little bit of clarity. If an AI only learns from data made by other AIs, it starts to forget all the richness and the pure weirdness of reality. And over generations, its world becomes this pale imitation of our own, until it just collapses into repetitive gibberish. It's like the AI Ouroboros, eating its own tail. So how do you stop that from happening? The defense is pretty simple, actually. You never, ever let go of reality. The solution is to always keep an anchor of real, messy, human-generated data in the training mix, usually somewhere between 10 and 30%. That real data acts like a gravitational pull, constantly reminding the AI what the real world is actually like and preventing it from drifting off into its own little echo chamber. And this changes absolutely everything. The most important takeaway here is that the job of an AI developer is no longer about finding and cleaning data. It's about designing environments, it's about creating the rules, the goals, and the feedback systems where an AI can then learn and improve all on its own. We're shifting from being data janitors to being world builders. Which, of course, leaves us with one last massive question. As these systems get more and more autonomous, learning and reasoning in ways we can only guide instead of directly control, the responsibility shifts. We're not teaching it the answers anymore, but we are still the ones writing the test. So, as AI learns to teach itself, who is ultimately responsible for teaching it what is true?